Hello and welcome to Onto the Ball. I'm your host, Scott Nichol, and I'm joined by Travis Morgan to review the Newcastle versus Liverpool and Manchester United versus Leicester weekend games. Obi sends his apologies. He can't join us tonight. I think he's still on a 5-day bender after 3 points against Everton, but who can blame him after the last couple of weeks? Results. I'm sure he'll be back with us after the weekend. Travis, how you doing? And more to the point, what is the latest on the Manchester United takeover? I've been a bit busy at work today. I haven't seen much, but I've seen something around. Apparently they're not going to offer as much as the Glazers want.
See, I've been busy at work as well, so I've not seen that much on it, to be fair. I'm good personally, but there's obviously, I think it's like a soft deadline today at like 10 p.m. for all the bids to come in. I think there's obviously Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I think there's going to be an American bid as well, but the main one everyone's talking about is the Qatar bid, from like an opening bid of around 4.5 billion as an opening bid. So everyone's sort of really excited about that and swaying towards that. There's been a little bit of a divide from other sections as well, saying they don't want Qatari owners because of sort of the moral high ground and what the country sort of represents and stuff. But I mean, from what I've heard in terms of the plans that the Qataris have got for Manchester United, in terms of like a total renovation of the training ground, the stadium, investing in the squad, and wanting Ten Hag to stay at the helm and stuff. Like I'm obviously licking my lips in terms of
my worst nightmare, basically.
So I'm excited. It's going to be interesting to see. I think they're looking at like the end of April in terms of a timeline, which is around the corner in regards to a full sale of a football club. Do you know what I mean? If it takes a couple of months, it's not actually that long, and that sort of deadline will spring upon us very quickly. So exciting times for Manchester United.
I mean, I don't know how it all works, and I'm not sure if you do, but a 4.5 billion bid, is that taking on the £1 billion debt that Man United have got? So in essence, it's a 5.5 billion pound bid, or is the 4.5 billion, and then the Glazers would pay off the £1 billion debt, as in a mortgage, and then they'll walk home with 3.5 billion. I don't know how it works. Do you?
Yeah, I'm not 100% myself, but what came out from a couple of like sort of reputable sources that Man United fans follow is that what the Qataris are looking to do is wipe the debt. So I'm guessing they'll be doing it themselves. Wipe the debt, invest in the stadium, or build a totally brand new stadium, new training ground, investment in the squad. That's literally the parameters that they're looking to fulfill. So
the debt is Manchester United's then, not the Glazers.
It sounds
so
like
they'll walk away with 4.5 million, 4.5 billion.
Yeah.
And then the Qataris will have to throw in another billion, because the Manchester United are nearly $1 billion in debt. So they'll be 5.5 billion down before they've even got started.
Yeah.
It's crazy money.
These people are worth ridiculous money.
Ridiculous. It's crazy. Money. It's monopoly money to them, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll be nothing.
Championship manager.
Yeah,
I bet they can't wait to get started.
Them clearing that debt and investing in the team and building a brand new stadium, to them is a drop in the ocean. And that's how scary it is, to think that they can just go in and just wipe that out and build a new stadium, new training ground, invest in the team and everything. It's just mad. Like, obviously I'm not saying be careful what you wish for, but like at the same time, you have to have a little bit of a dubious nature, not towards the fact that the Qatari or anything like that. That's got absolutely nothing to do with it. You just want the people that take over to have the right intentions, whoever it is. It doesn't matter where they come from or anything like that necessarily. Like you said, they've just got to have the right intentions for the club. So that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing what their intentions are and creating a connection with the fans, like the best owners do. Do you know what I mean? They keep fans in the loop in terms of what their plans are and what they want to do. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of months, but it is exciting, I must admit.
Yeah, it is exciting for Man United fans anyway, and I am more than just a touch jealous. I obviously wish it was Liverpool. And then you talk about intentions for the club. We're at a point now where Fred and Rose West could take over, and I think I'd be fine about it as long as they had 100 billion in the bank. I probably wouldn't say that comment if we had 10,000 subscribers, but I'll probably get away with it on this one. But onto the match. Man United versus Leicester. For those that play last man standing, I've chose Man United to get us through to the next round on that.
Yeah.
So I am hoping and predicting for a win. How much would yesterday's match play a bearing on the starting lineup as well as the cup final coming up? You think he's going to flex his squad again? Are we going to see the likes of Maguire, Fred, McTominay all coming in?
I think we'll see a few changes, definitely, because we had a couple of suspensions last night. Like Sabitzer was suspended. Martinez was suspended. They were the suspensions. Obviously, Shaw played centre half. Maguire and Lindelof both weren't involved in yesterday's game. Casemiro suspended for this weekend. So again, it's a lot of chopping and changing again. So I do expect to see some changes. I haven't looked at the press conference, so I don't know what's happening in terms of forward areas. Anthony, Martial, those sorts of players who weren't involved yesterday even on the bench. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of those boys are back. Midfielder, I think it's going to be, apart from Sabitzer coming back in, I think it's going to be a little bit of a touch too early for the likes of McTominay. Obviously, Eriksen's a bit of a longer term injury, but I don't think McTominay is even back in training. So again, we're sort of dealing with a pool of like Fred, Casemiro, Sabitzer, and that's your lot really in midfield. To be fair,
it's picking itself then at the minute, isn't it? With Casemiro and Sabitzer being banned, they're just yo-yoing in and out Europe and Premier League. Then
the only people we're actually able to rotate at the moment is the centre backs. Weghorst has played a lot of minutes. Sancho's obviously come straight back in now because of the injuries to like Anthony and things like that. Obviously, Garnacho's being rotated and rotated well. But yeah, I expect to see a few changes again against Leicester. I expect Martinez to obviously come back in. Whether he rests Varane or not, I doubt, because Leicester have got a lot of pace up front, which we'll probably talk about in a minute. So I expect Sabitzer to come back in for the suspended Casemiro, which is his last game. Fred has to play because we've got nobody else unless he plays Kobe Mino, which I don't think he will because it's a must-win game for us. And the front three again will probably pick itself. He's not going to drop Rashford for anything unless Anthony is fit. I can see again the same players, Sancho, Weghorst, and we actually flew back after the game on the same night yesterday to get back a little bit earlier so we could get that little bit extra rest, and it could make all the difference going into Sunday's game.
I think you had to fly home, really, didn't you? Because, like you say, it's only 48 or 72 hours till the next game. There's no time to waste. So you'd be best flying home, getting a little bit of rest today, and then probably train this afternoon. As you know, I went to Leicester versus Spurs last Saturday. Took my little girl, the 4-1 to Leicester. And I don't want to say you're definitely going to win on Sunday. I know you say Leicester got a lot of pace going forward, but it was more that Spurs were awful. They were so bad. That Pedro Porro at right wing back, he got absolutely run ragged by Harvey Barnes.
Yeah,
it was another one of them.
Battered him on Sky Sports Soccer Saturday.
Did he?
Yeah, he battered him.
It was another one of them games where I thought I'd have Harvey Barnes at Liverpool, but again, it was more that Spurs were awful. If you said to me Harry Kane weren't playing, I wouldn't be able to argue with you.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything from him. He was so quiet. But Spurs, how they're above Liverpool in the league, I'll never know. But I was glad that Leicester got the win. And they did play well in parts of the game. Obviously, they must have scored 4 goals.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harvey Barnes done really well. Iheanacho up front done really well. Jamie Vardy, I think he's just a bit part player now. I think he's resigned to just coming off the bench for the last 20 minutes of most games. But it was the defense that most impressed me during the game. They looked compact and composed at the back, and they didn't even have Soyuncu playing. He was like touted with a move to Man City about 18 months ago.
Yeah,
and he wasn't playing. He was on the bench. But I don't think Man United are going to have that much to worry about personally, and that's not me setting it up to play devil's advocate. But at the same time, like you say, it all depends on Ten Hag's team selection, because the games are coming thick and fast. now. It's just I don't know how he's going to play it. I was flabbergasted by the side he played yesterday, but of course I don't rate the Europa League. Lots of other people do. I bet he'd love to get a European trophy on
Yeah,
his CV in his first season at Man United.
yeah. Yeah, and like you say, with Leicester, they're a team that they can cause problems to anyone. They've
Mhm.
got individuals that can cause problems, the likes of Madison and stuff. If you let them play, they will hurt you. Like you said, we're in such a good, like a rich vein of form at the moment in terms of how we're playing. And I know we lost to Arsenal and we've dropped a couple of points in draws and stuff, but we know we're in a place where we're not going to win every game. And every game that we go into at Old Trafford, I actually just fancy us to win the game because we're just so confident. We're not conceding lots and lots of goals at home. I know we conceded a couple against Leeds and stuff, but generally we defend really well at home. I think what will dictate what sort of team we play is what the other results are like on the Saturday as well and the Sunday, because I think obviously Arsenal are away at Villa. I know City are at home this week and away at Forest as well. So you'd expect both teams to sort of win those games, but you just never know. I think if one of those teams drops points, then I think we'll sort of get our hopes up, not necessarily about the title, but again, just chipping away, trying to close ground on those two teams. So I think if one of those teams drops, then I think you'll see a little bit less risk in the team selection. But again, like you said, with the suspensions and the couple of knocks we've got, the team's pretty much picking itself until, like, I would say after the cup final, we'll see a few more of the boys coming back.
You've got another game midweek, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got this return leg of Barca. So we've got the second
Wow.
leg next week. Well, that's the one thing I wanted to ask you. Is it because they're the same, like because they're both UEFA competitions, they can't play on a Tuesday and Wednesday? Because why are Europa League games on a Thursday all the time? Why can't they?
I think it's just a tradition so that we can always sing Channel 5 Thursday night.
It's just mad. Like the fixtures, I'm not saying we've been stitched up, but just how have we got this many games? Like,
Yeah, it's crazy,
congested
isn't it?
together. We've only had like one or two postponements.
It's
Obviously,
this extra game that they've shoehorned in for the Europa League to try and add a bit of glamour to it with the third place
yeah,
Champions League falling in. It's just crazy. So,
yeah,
yeah, so basically over this round of games in Europe, if you get past the playoff, you'll play 4 games when those in the Champions League, i.e. Liverpool, will play 2. So the Champions League games are staggered over 4 weeks, the 2 legs, whereas you'll play 4 games. Is that right?
yeah,
You basically, if you beat Barcelona, you're straight into a draw and play another 2 European games because we don't play the second leg against Real Madrid till about the 20th of March. So as you
yeah,
can see, that's like 4 weeks away. But yeah, it's crazy.
yeah,
But that's what
it's,
happens when you're competing on 4 fronts, isn't it? You're still in the
yeah.
FA Cup. You got a plum draw. You're in
West
the
Ham
League
at home.
Cup final. And then obviously you try to shoehorn these Europa League games in. But it's a good position to be in.
Yeah, yeah,
I wish Liverpool was still in the League Cup, the FA Cup. And that's what happens. Give us a prediction then, even though it must be hard to make a prediction. You don't even know who Ten Hag's going to play.
yeah.
You've seen what Leicester are about, but as you say, you're at home. You're confident of a win. So what do you reckon?
I'm gonna go 3-1 Man United. Yeah,
Goals, goals,
3-1.
goals.
Yeah. I think 3-1. I think so. The vein of form Rashford's in is actually unplayable at the minute. Like you would fancy him to score in every game. He's ridiculously hot at the minute. Just no one can deal with him. I fancy him to get a goal. I just think if we take the lead in the game, I think Leicester could really feel the heat and crumble, and probably Leicester will get one back like when the game's already done. But I expect us to win quite convincingly. I know they've got threats, but if we play well, we dominate the game as we have been. Just don't give them a moment's peace or give them any time to settle. Then I think we'll run out 3-1 winners.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go 2-0 to Man United. I think you'll keep a clean sheet. And it's only right that we end this little Man United segment on Rashford. The guy, like you say, he's unplayable. When I watch him now, he's got that Sadio Mane, Mo Salah feel about him. I mean, he was even coming in off the right last night and scoring.
Yeah.
He's normally off the left. And
Yeah.
whenever you see it, you just think he's going to score every
That
game.
inevitability where you just like, you'd be shocked if he didn't score. That's
It's just
the level we're
confidence, isn't it?
getting.
Confidence for a player can do so much, and he's gliding, he's fast, he's slick, his decision making, and the belief. He's obviously got the belief.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, definitely. And like you said, I think it's testament to obviously the manager coming in, installing that belief and that mentality in the players now, and the characters that we sort of added. Like Casemiro has just been so big for us, like in terms of, and Varane as well, sort of leading as well. Like I just think it's just elevated everybody. Everybody's just hungry, wants to play for their place, and long may it continue.
Nice one. On to Liverpool.
Mm.
Away to Newcastle. This is another one where I can't even call it. Obviously, the feel-good factor from beating Everton is going right through the club, right through the fan base. And again, obviously, we've had another week of training for Van Dijk, Firmino, Jota. But Newcastle are absolutely flying. I know they've come a little bit unstuck the last couple of weeks scoring. I think they've drew the last 3 now.
Drawn 4 out the last 5, I think.
Yeah. They've definitely drew the last 3. I was looking at it today. And however, they're at home. And obviously, you know what their fans are like. They're crazy, especially at 5:30. Imagine 5:30 in Newcastle on a Saturday night. They'll be absolutely bouncing. And we haven't got a Divock Origi to pull us out of any holes anymore. So it's literally going to be on the squad we've got at our disposal. But I'm hoping Van Dijk plays. I know we kept a cleanie on Monday night with Matip and Gomez.
Yeah.
But I really want Van Dijk just to slot back in now. He's had another week's training. And obviously Bajcetic has had a great couple of games. He got the Standard Charter Player of the Month for January the other day. He'll probably get it for February as well. February's nearly done. He'll get it for February as well, I'd imagine. Yeah. I'm not sure if it'll be a game too far for him, considering he's only just turned 18. But with the injury to Thiago, I don't really see how we can't. You'd be absolutely crazy to rest your informed player, no matter how young he is. You wouldn't be resting a 19-year-old Jude Bellingham. So, and there's been a lot of praise for Hendo this week, rightly so. So, to be honest, all the players played well Monday. I couldn't criticize any player. Andy Robertson looked back to his best, and I know we kept joking it's only Everton, but you can only beat who's in front of you. And look, I'm not going to predict a win for Liverpool. I'd be crazy. Our away form in the league has been absolutely horrendous. It's been probably our Achilles heel, to be honest, because we're still holding it together at home. I never expect us to get beat at home. We're normally picking up the points, but I think we've only won 2 away all season out of about 9 games. It's just not good enough. However, after Monday, I said it on the podcast where we analysed the game, there was just this familiar feel about it when Van Dijk, Jota and Firmino were on the bench, and it felt like it gave us all a confidence boost. Nunes was probably had his best game in a red shirt. Didn't score. Don't think he really looked like scoring, but he was harnessing his inner Sadio Mane off that left-hand side. And that's what we needed with Gakpo dropping deep with his turner pace. He was drawing out defenders to allow Salah and Nunes to do what they can. I don't know if it'll be the same type of game on Saturday night. I don't think it will. Obviously, Newcastle are a different proposition to Everton at the minute. I don't think they'll get top 4 Newcastle. I don't think they'll have enough. Obviously, I'd hope it's Liverpool that take their place. But I'm worried about Saturday night. I'm not going to get too carried away by the Everton result. I'm worried, and I don't think we'll win.
I think the thing is, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. Like with the performance on Monday, it was a huge boost with the players coming back, and everything just felt like it went right on the night. To me, it didn't feel like it was just Everton. I think you blew them away. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily back or top 4. As much as there's been a lot of fan outcry and people watching thinking that top 4 is not on, when you've got a top manager and players that you've got, you'll always believe that you feel that you can get back into that race. And the thing is, you've got to go to Newcastle and win now. A draw isn't good enough in that game. That's the thing. Like from a pressure perspective, you have to go out and win that game, because you're taking points off a direct opponent, and then you're gaining the points yourself. So it's such a huge game, probably bigger game for Liverpool than it is Newcastle, because Newcastle are in the driving seat for that top four. Spurs just lost to Leicester. I think the teams in and around, like from third down, they're all sort of dropping points every week. Do you know what I mean? Even United have had the fair share of a couple of draws and stuff. Newcastle have been dropping quite a lot. Spurs will always drop points. So there is an opportunity there for Liverpool if they can put a run together to get back into that race. But like you said, the big question is, can Liverpool kick on from Monday? I think the important thing was, and I know we mentioned it sort of in the group chat a little bit, that he went back to those experienced players. Now, I'm not saying the experienced players sort of knew what they were doing, that's why you won, but like Hendo and Fabinho coming back into the team, I felt was just so important. As good as Bajcetic was, those players in there as well just gave you that calm, composed head and that sort of drive that the sort of team needed. Because when you were playing like the likes of Keita in there and Harvey Elliott and that, it's just like you couldn't fall back on it. Like you were just sort of hoping that it would deliver a performance. This time you went to your tried and trusted, and you could see that's why it had that familiar feel to it. And everyone was great. I think Saturday, like you said, it's going to be tough. I think Liverpool can win. What Liverpool's going to turn up, I don't know. The only thing is Newcastle don't concede a lot of goals, so I can't really see it being a high-scoring game, because Newcastle don't concede a lot, but they don't also score a lot as well. And I know you're off the back of scoring a few goals in the week.
Yeah, but we've not been looking like scoring at all, apart from Everton.
Yeah, I think it's going to be low scoring. I think personally it's got 1-1 written all over it, to be honest. I think Newcastle, obviously, like you said, they're going great guns, and they're overachieving at where they are. They are starting to falter a little bit. Their squad's not massive. They've had few injuries. Players are starting to come back for them, like Isak and stuff. But they've just hit a little bit of a wobble. And with Liverpool going into that game, they'll be full of confidence from Monday. I think if they take the lead in the game, they can win the game. But I personally just think 1-1 in that game. That would suit Man United, certainly. But I think it's got a draw written all over it, to be fair. And at the end of the day, I think a draw isn't good enough for Liverpool. But secretly, deep down in the heart, would they take it? Probably.
Yeah. Away to a top four rival.
Yeah.
Definitely take a draw. But I don't know. I mean, I don't want to talk down Liverpool. Well, it's easy to talk down Liverpool if you watch them away to Wolves, if you watch them away to Brighton. But we've got to remember, this Everton beat league leaders Arsenal 1 week before. So I don't want to be too glass half empty, but like you say, with Liverpool, I just don't know how we're going to turn up. And we'll know in the first 10, 20 minutes what Liverpool's turned up. If it's the one against Wolves, we'll be 2-0 down after 10 minutes.
Mate, we've been saying it in the podcast for a while. Like, I know FSG need to invest in this squad, but the drop-off was way bigger than it should have been. Even with the injuries, like, being able to play the likes of Fabinho, Hendo, Bajcetic. I know he's picked this midfield. Is this the first time this midfield's played together as a three? I don't know. I can't remember. Probably is. But like, he's had those resources there to be able to do that games ago. Do you know what I mean? Where would you be in the league if he did that? You just don't know. It's an unanswerable question. We'll never know. But like, he's had players there that he could have played that would have got better results than what I've seen, and maybe better performances as well. So he has to he has to shelf some blame for where the position is now. But like you said, you can't look back. You got to look forward now. You got to start putting in some performances. If you can put a little run together, 3 or 4 games. I know you got Man United after as well in the league. That's not going to be easy for either team. But if you can manage to somehow get a result against Newcastle and get a result against Man United, you're right. You're going to be right back in the thick of it. Certainly. So there's an opportunity there for Liverpool. Like you said in a couple of podcasts ago, you'll rise to these occasions. You normally rise to these big games. You've got a lot of big games coming up, Real Madrid sandwiched in between. If you can get a couple of results in the league and knock Real Madrid out, there's going to be huge optimism at Anfield.
Would it be a game changer if we can get a result on Tuesday night against Real Madrid? But it's a good point. Like you say, if you're putting Hendo back in the side, you're putting Fabinho back in. Hopefully Van Dijk will be back in. That's 3 experienced heads. 2 of them are captains of the club. So of course would be missing that composure in any starting lineup without them. But yeah, I think you'll go exactly the same starting lineup. But I'm hoping he goes Van Dijk instead of Gomez. That might be a bit harsh on Gomez after Monday night against Everton, but at the same time, Jurgen Klopp, to us, he's the Messiah. For all I know, Hendo's been nursing a bit of a niggle for the last 4 weeks, and that's why he's been on the bench mainly with a 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there.
Didn't want to risk
but
him.
Yeah, maybe it is. So it's hard to pick Klopp's team for him. He knows them better than we do. Sees them on the training, and he gets guided by the doctors all the time, which I don't know if that frustrates him. I don't know if you've seen that press conference where someone asked him about Thiago, and it was a telling comment. He said, "I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say." And I thought that was a real odd comment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was almost like, I think he's fit, but some doctors telling me he's not. So we've kind of fallen out. But
that's interesting.
I don't know. But I'm going to join you on the 1 each prediction.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd take a draw. I'd take a draw right now. It doesn't bear thinking about that we head into the Madrid game on the back of another defeat, another away defeat to a top 4 rival. It would just be a nightmare. But at the same time, I don't want to do Man United any favours, so I don't want to take points off Newcastle. So.
It'd be so deflating, wouldn't it, after everything Monday night, the opportunity to sort of build on a result, to go to and get beat. It just, like you said, it would just knock the stuffing out, especially with the United and being bought out potentially by Qatar and not much movement with your sort of sale. It's just going to rile the fans right up, isn't it? If you don't go and get a result in that game. So I think it's an important game. What's happening with your sale as well? Like, what's happening with yours?
It's all gone completely dead. Apparently, the owners were just testing the water, was the latest soundbite to come out, just to kind of see what reaction. So the fans on Twitter took testing the water like it was never for sale. It was all a smoke screen just to get through the January transfer window. I got to admit, I've stayed off Twitter a bit the last couple of days. On your good advice, you're a Twitter man. But the bits when I have gone on, apparently we bulked at 60 million for Enzo Fernandez. So they're saying, how are we going to be in for Bellingham if we couldn't even consider 60 million for Enzo Fernandez when he went for double that? So I don't know. The takeover talk right now is dead.
Yeah.
But like you say, if there's multiple bids for Manchester United, once that gets sewn up, done deal, that might release some other potential investors that look elsewhere. So we might just be waiting to see what happens there. But I'm trying not to think about it, to be honest. I think, if anything, I'm hoping that once we get to the summer, FSG have got a bit of a kitty arranged, a bit of a war chest, as they call it, 200 million, 250 million. But knowing FSG in the last 12 years under their stewardship, I would not hold my breath. So, yeah, that's it. So 3-1 to Man United for you, 2-0 to Man United. I'll probably put our predictions in the comments, actually, in the description of videos. I never do, but it's always good to look back. And we've both gone 1 each for Newcastle, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Right, we'll be back probably Monday or Tuesday to review the big weekend's bowl. If anyone's made it this far and you've liked what you've watched, like what you've heard, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Join me, Travis, and James OB on the next episode. Travis, thank you very much and have a great weekend.